It is story time tonight, and we are so honored to have Stanley Primnath with us tonight. But Jürgen, I'm going to call you first. There was a divine appointment a couple of months ago, and this guy, Jürgen Rust, he's a German guy in our midst, and we can say Guten Abend, Jürgen. Guten Abend.
Guten Abend.
And did I pronounce it correctly? Well, that was my matric German that I just passed. We want to know about that, about that divine appointment a couple of months ago. That was the beginning point of this evening. Tell us more about that.
And we were so blessed. Our son was participating in a robotics competition, international world championship in the United States. So we went there in April, Andreas and me. And on our way back, we also stopped in New York. And on Sunday, our plane was going to leave, and I thought, I need to attend the church while we're in America. And actually, we stayed over in a hotel that looked down on the memorial of the World Trade Center. So we saw that, and the night before, we watched some documentaries about the attacks on 2001. And then on Sunday, the church I chose was Bethel. I thought, I love Bethel music. I googled Bethel, and I saw they opened a branch in New York. So we went there. I went there, and then it turned out to be a different Bethel church, but it was good, and nevertheless.
It was not what you expected.
Not quite what was planned, but God had another plan. And I have to admit, in front of the whole congregation, that at the end of the service, I thought my time's getting close here, getting tight, my schedule, I need to catch a flight. So, and it took quite long service, so everybody was praying very long, and I slipped out during prayer. I have to admit, it wasn't
we forgive you for that.
I don't have time to talk to anybody here, let me just disappear before anybody starts talking to me. And as I was standing outside of the church, waiting for an Uber to pick me up, another guy slides through from the door, from the church behind me. And he starts engaging in a conversation with me. I don't have time for this, but okay. And so he asked me where I'm from. I said, from South Africa. And how did you find us? I said, I Googled you. And then he said, well, why don't you Google me? And, okay, I'll Google you. And he said his name is Stanley Primnath. And I Googled him, and he says, well, he survived the attacks on the World Trade Center, and he told me a bit of his story. And as he was telling a bit, so I realized, wow, what a story. And he said, maybe you came here so that my story of hope could be shared with you. And somehow the Lord impressed on me there that it shouldn't just be me who hears the story. So shortly thereafter, we asked him if he would want to come to South Africa, and he immediately said yes, and that's how Stanley came here.
Wow. I can honestly say that I think the Lord has got an appointment with every single person tonight. Stanley, I'm not going to make it a long story, but we are looking forward to listen to your story. Thanks, Jürgen. Thank you so much. Let's give Stanley a very, very hard Kameeldrift, very South African, warm welcome. And we're looking forward to you. Thank you, Stanley. Bless you.
Hello, South Africa. I bring you greetings from New York City, a city that never sleeps. It had to be so nice that they name it twice, New York, New York. Well, you're probably wondering, who's this guy? He looks different, he sounds different. I want to tell you, I'm well done. So upon invitations, I've been traveling around the country, that is in America and outside, telling people about God and His deliverance. And tonight, I want to tell you of a message of hope and deliverance and miracle. And some of you might say, all right, the right place, the right time, it's probably like magic. But I want to tell you, we serve a God who is big and powerful and mighty and able and who can do all things. I have the privilege in having my wife, this wonderful lady who sits in front of the prettiest girl. Jennifer, stand up. And when you get married to the pastor's daughter, men, you have to be in a straight line. When your pastor, your lead pastor is a father-in-law, it means you're the guy who dig out all the gum from the floor and help to walk around with the offering basket. And if there's no light, you're the one who got to fix the bulb or get it fixed. So that's what I do. So I serve in our church, Bethel Assembly of God, as an associate pastor, an administrative pastor, and the men's group leader. Bottom line, I'm doing everything. And when I'm not doing that, I'm traveling, telling people about God and His grace. So I've been doing that for the past 20-something years, and I never stopped. And I tell myself, I'm the 10th leper. You see, the Lord is walking through, and 10 lepers jumped out in front. Lord, help, help, help. And the Lord healed every one of them. But 9 of them jumped for joy, ran away. But one stopped. One stopped. Stanley Premneth stopped and went back and said, thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Master. Go, show yourself to the high priest and tell of this miracle. So here I am, the 10th leper, telling about this miracle of God. Amen? So I want to take my phone and put it out here just in case I'm going over time. You can stop me. You stand, I'm getting bored, stop. And I will. Amen? All right. So let me start. My name is Stanley Premneth. Around that time when the World Trade Center got hit, I was working for a company they call Fuji Bank Limited. I helped to run the operations on the 81st floor of the second tower. So we had occupied 4 floors of the Trade Center, 79, 80, 81, 82 floors. So 4 floors of the World Trade Center. And let me tell you something, a little bit about the World Trade Center very quickly before I get into what I want to say. It was a massive building. When you stand on the 81st floor and you look down, you can see cars and trucks and buses like little matchboxes. And planes flew at the same altitude. So that's where I work. September 11 comes, wonderful day, nice and bright and sunny and warm. And I'm taking a shower that morning, and we live in this little house, not that we live in a fancy house now, 2 bedrooms, 2 daughters, 1 bathroom. So men, you know what I'm talking about. So Jennifer is fixing her hair, I'm taking a shower, and she's telling me, Stan, I'm having a bad hair day. Man, I still can't figure out after 35 years of marriage what a bad hair day is. I go take the shower, take my hands, rub it over my head. That's my towel right there. I'm done. But I'm carrying a prayer that I carry all my life while I'm doing what I'm doing. Lord, cover me and all my loved ones under your precious blood. Take us to work and bring us back home in peace and safety. And that's what I'm saying that morning. And I told her, I'm going to wear that lucky shoe. And when I bought that shoe for $110, she says, was an ugly pair of shoes. She says, Stan, for $110, I could have gotten the Bass, I could have gotten the Clarks, I could have gotten the Bostonian. And I'm like, what? I'm not a shopper. I hold the bags and she shops. And we go out to eat and I'm happy. So I told her, I'm going to wear that shoe. And she says, okay. Had I not worn that shoe that day, chances are I would not have been able to walk again today. Today, that shoe in a shoe box with the word deliverance written all around it. People ask me why. And I told them, that is the ark right there. That was my Passover. And that's a reminder of if I get cold for the Lord, I want you to bring me, open that box and show me where I was and what the Lord did for me. That is the day I thought I was going to die. And God says, no, you're going to live to tell the good news. So that's why I'm here today. So I'm taking my shower, got dressed, hopped in the car, and I drove to the Borough of Queens, took the A train, the letter A, the train marks A in front of it, and it's going to Manhattan. And I reach the World Trade Center. Stop in the same bagel store, pick up a raisin bagel, toasted with a cup of coffee, $1.25 here. pushes the button, briefcase in one hand, and less than 45 seconds, I'm zoomed up to the sky lobby of that second tower, the 78th floor. 45 seconds. And here I am. Walk across the hallway, took the local elevator, pushes the button, I'm now on the 81st floor. I walk all the way down the hallway, extreme, and make a right. Where I sat in the office, I had a spectacular view. If I was to sit like this and turn a little to my left, I could have seen part of Brooklyn Bridge. Look straight ahead, I could have seen the Statue of Liberty, swivel around, Jersey City overlooking the Hudson. Wonderful. And a little more I tilted this way, turn, and I could have seen part of the North Tower, One World Trade Center. You see, I was in the elevator coming up that morning. The first plane hit the first building. The building is soundproof, so I did not know anything happened. So when I walked into the office, one young lady was making copies at the copier. Her name was Delise Seriano. And she asks me, Stan, how you doing? I said, I'm special, thank you. You see, in New York City, you're so busy. Somebody asks you how you doing before you answer, they're gone. But if you tell them you're special, they will stop and give you that look. What makes you special? Well, I'm a child of God. And they smile, and you just bless their hearts for that day. My pastor always told us that. So I carried that to my job. Where I worked, there was a bunch of Bushidos and Shintos and Buddhists and Catholics. So I took my religion seriously, and I took it to my job. My Bible was always on top of my desk. So as I got in the office, Delise and I exchanged pleasantry. The phone rang, and my mother is on the phone. Stan, are you okay? Yeah? And my brothers, Steve, Paul, Bill, Stan, you're okay? Okay. Nobody's telling me anything. They're just asking me, is okay? And I said to myself, wow, there's a lot of love here. It is not even 9 o'clock, and they're reaching out to me. Nobody's telling me nothing. They're just wanting to know if I'm okay. So, we were in the middle of a consolidation with another large Japanese bank. So I had two desks. This is where my phone is, and this is where it's going to be, like maybe 8 to 10 feet apart. So, as I'm walking towards my desk, hung up the phone, in the corner of my eyes, I could have seen something. It looks like large chunks of fireballs falling from the sky. Wow. And then I walked to the ledge, and I'm looking up at the first tower because the first building was hit way on top. Delise, come, take a look. What is happening here? So we're watching the scene. We don't know what to do, and she says she's scared. I said, all right, we're going to get out of here, but let me make a call. I reach back for my phone, pick up the phone, I'm calling to my boss, Peter Del Grasso. Pete, son, pick up. No response. Pete, pick up. No response. Hung up the phone. I'm calling his boss, Bob Militaglio. Bobby, pick up. No response. Bobby, pick up. No response. All right, let's get out of here. Ran out of the office, down the hallway, back to the elevator. Pushes the button. We're now on the sky lobby of the 78th floor. Multiple elevators. Hundreds of people. All the big shots of my office was there. The CEO, the head of human resources, head of general affairs, everybody is there. Delise and I, 18 of us. And these guys were standing up like this. Not a word. I work for a Japanese bank, remember? We don't smile. So, the elevator came, the doors opened, right in from where I was standing. I stepped in, the rest of the folks stepped in, the door closes, less than 45 seconds, we're down at the lobby level. The doors open up, I stepped out. And the security guard says, where are you going? I says, I'm going home. I saw fireballs coming down from the first building. No, your building is safe, it's secure, go back to your office. And you can hear the whoop whoop sound, woo woo, and you can hear the intercom system. Your building is safe, it's secure, go back to your office. Your building is safe, it's secure, go back to your office. But what do? All your bosses are in that elevator, and you're standing up outside. Do you go home or do you go back in? These are your bosses, right? The doors are trying to close, so Jack Andriacchio, He's leaning against one side of the door, and Manny Gomez is leaning on the other side of the door, preventing the door from closing. Come on, stand, man. You're not scared to go back up? And I'm still not sure why I should be scared. Come on, Stan, we have an operation here to run. We don't have all day, let's go. Had I known that the first plane had hit the first building, I would have been out there. I would have been gone. But I did not know. It looks like everybody else knew what was happening except me. So I'm deciding what to do, and I'm stepping, and the young lady says, Stan, I want to go home. All right, take the rest of the day off. Go. Stan, how can you do this? We have an operation here to run. No. I'm running the operation. She is going home. And you know what? That felt good talking to my bosses like that. But I'm not that person. I've never spoken to people like that before. But I had to take a stand because this young lady is scared. She wants to go home. And she starts to walk. And as she's walking, she's turning back. Are you sure? Go. And she is gone. And that was probably the best decision I ever made in my life. And she's gone. And half-heartedly, these guys are calling me, and I'm stepping in that elevator, and I'm reliving 1993, when they truck bombed the World Trade Center for the first time. 1,200 pounds of explosive in a white pickup truck. The guy walks away, presses the remote control, boom! And it exploded in the basement of the building that I was working there. That was the first tower. It was February 26, if I remember well, February 26 of 1993. Sophia Wong was sitting here, and I'm sitting here, and she ordered food from Chinatown. I remember she ordered pork chops, Chinese cabbage rice, and a boiled egg plop in the middle. I remember that. And we're having lunch when the bomb blew up or exploded in the basement. And she starts to scream, Stan, we're going to die. How can you sit and eat at a time like this? And I said, well, if I'm going to go to the Lord today, I'm going with a full stomach, lady. And you know what? Thank God I did that, because I got home 2 o'clock the next morning. I didn't have a cell phone, and Jenny thought I died. So I remember that entire episode played back in my heart for a couple seconds, and I stepped back in that elevator. And the door closed. 18 of us. And I can still remember the smiles on the faces of all those people who I would never see again. And Kawauchi, this fella, he had a sweater tucked in his khakis. Come on, man, what are you doing? It's a warm day. I pulled it out. And the people says, only Stanley can do that. See, because all these folks here were more than friends. They were more than friends to me. They were not just employees. These were people who we bonded, and I worked in that building for that company up to that time. For 13 years, I worked in that building up to that time. And I still remember the smiles on the faces of this lady. And she's looking at me, smiling. And I never thought for one day that I would never see that smile again. And we were zoomed up. We got out at the 78th floor, the sky lobby, and walked across the hallway, pushes the button. But one man came out from the elevator with me. And he walked in front of me, and he went into the men's room. And I never saw that man again. That man had forgotten his laptop, and he was going upstairs for it. He was out of a job for a long time. And my boss's boss took compassion on his family and hired him as a consultant. What do you tell that wife or that child who calls you? Did you see my dad? And I was left with that survival guilt for a long time. Lord, why me? Of all these good men and women, why me? Until I stopped one day and says, why not you? So I walked all the way back again, walked into the office, and the phone is ringing again like deja vu. The phone rings. I pick it up. Get out. Hello? Get out? Get out for what? Stan, you're not looking at the monitors. You're not watching the TV. Get out. We don't have time. No. I'm a logical-minded person. You tell me why, and I will go. Get out. Yes, get out. We don't have time. And I still, up to that point, didn't know what was happening. This young lady was calling me from Chicago, and with the time difference, she was home, and she was watching TV, and she knew it's a terrorist attack. But I didn't know. Stan, please, go. Something says, look up. Still had the phone in my hand. I'm looking towards the direction of the Statue of Liberty, and something caught my attention for the first time. A gray plane coming towards me, eye-level eye contact. Well, on a normal day, if you look there at the monitor, you would see what I'm saying. The security camera captured that picture just before impact. And if you look under the desk, you will see how close that call was. On a given day, what would happen is a plane would zoom by like a half a mile ahead. It's a normal sight. But to see a plane coming towards you, it's a different picture. And your mind is reacting so fast, and the plane is coming so fast. And I can still remember seeing the color, a gray plane with the letter U, United Airways 175, written on that plane. And all I can remember saying, and if you beat me over the head, I would not remember why, or I can't tell you the reason. All I said, Lord, I can't do this, you take over. And I dove under the desk. And that's yours truly, right there under that desk. And with the most thunderous sound I could have ever heard, bam! The plane crashed into the building. And the bottom wing took out the 79th floor, and the top wing took out the 82nd floor, the 4 floors that we had. Upon impact, a large chunk of the plane was stuck in the office doorway 20 feet from where I am. There are flames all around me. The floor above me collapsed and was hovering. It looks like a demolition crew came and ripped the entire place apart. The only desk that stood for him was the desk I'm hiding under. My Bible was on top of that desk. Talk about a big, powerful God. All the cables in the ceiling dropped, and the floor is hovering over me like this. Oh my God. The floor is going to collapse. I'm going to get crushed. I'm going to die. Or I'm going to get burned. I'm going to die. All these cables that were in the ceiling dropped, and they're short-circuiting, and the sprinkler system came on. I'm going to get electrocuted. Or I'm going to get sucked out by the air pressure. You can hear it. Shh. And all the mangled furniture and paper is flying out like the movie Airplane. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And I start crying out to this invisible God that I've heard so much about. I've heard about hope. I've heard about faith. I've heard about tragedy. Now I'm putting hope and I'm putting my faith to test. I'm calling out on this big, powerful God that I've heard every week about. Lord, please send somebody, anybody to help me. And I would never understand why Sarah waited for 25 years before she got that promised child. I would never know why Hannah prayed for a man-child and she's not getting it. I don't know why Rachel is not having the baby and Leah is. I do not know. But I know that Stanley prayed that call and God heard and answered. Because at the end of the floor, somebody had a flashlight and was shining it all around like this. God was sending help my way. Please wait for me. Don't leave me to die. And I start to crawl. It looks like a demolition crew came and ripped everything apart. It looks like a war zone. This was the strike zone right here. I start to crawl, and I'm watching the cables, and I'm watching the flames behind me, and I'm holding on to the mangled furniture, and I'm saying, oh gosh, this floor is going to collapse. I'm going to die. And I crawled the entire length of the loans department to the lounge, in the computer room, in the communication room, and one lousy wall stood firm. One wall, a dry wall. And I'm like, God, why that one wall? Lord, if you wanted me to die, why didn't I die there? Why did you bring me all the way here to leave me to die? And that flame is encroaching. I'm going to die. Lord, what's going to befall my poor wife and her children? Who's going to walk Stephanie and Caitlin down the aisle when they get married? I don't want to die. I want to live. I want to see my wife and the 2 children. I don't want to die. And the person who was standing behind the wall is hearing this. You're crazy, you're going to die. Climb over the wall. I can't climb over. I jumped the first time, tried to grab on, and I couldn't. A piece of the hanging loose sheetrock that was there fell down, and trying to prevent it from hitting my face, I raised up my hand, and that black sheetrock screw went straight through my palm. Gosh, what happened? A nail went in my palm. Bite it out and try again. I can't do it. If you want to live, bite it out and try again. Is it attached to a piece of wood? The person is telling me, yes. Hit the wood and the nail is going to come out. So I took that second option and hit that wood and the nail came out. And the hand just ballooned. Now I'm in worse shape than before. Climb over, I'll catch you. The person is telling me, I can't do it. And I know in my heart, this is it. I'm going to die. And all I can hear in my head, all I can hear in my head, in my mind, is my spirit. Our pastor is speaking. And he is preaching and he is saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's all I can hear. And I start touching this wall. And I'm rubbing this wall. I'm start caressing this wall, so to speak. And I made a fist as tightly as I could. And I'm saying to myself, I'm going to bust you down. And I punched with so much force. And the fist passed right through that sheetrock wall, the dry wall. What is that chance? I dabbled around White Tiger Kung Fu and Kempo for a long time. And I still can't karate chop and break a piece of board. You didn't hear that. So the man grabbed my fist. I said, when you see my head, yank my body through. And I punched and that hole got bigger. Punched and the hole got bigger. And I stuck my head and this man gave me a headlock. And with one fluid motion, I squirmed and he pulled and I flew over on the other side. And he was standing on top of some debris, some rubbish, some broken pieces of furniture and dry wall and everything. And I knocked him off his feet. And together we were intertwined and we rolled down 10 flights of stairs and we are now on the 80th floor. And I don't know how to thank this man who just saved my life. I found myself lying on top of this fella. So I hug him tightly and give him a kiss on the cheek. He says, what are you doing? He got up, fixed his jacket, his tie, and he says, Brian Clark. Like a robot. I thought the man's going to ask me, how you doing? He says, Brian Clark. And I said, Stanley Premnitz. But this guy, he did an act of kindness that I'll take to the grave remembering. He held on to my hand. And he took his left index finger and he started rubbing this wound very gently. And this man said, all my life, I live as an only child. I was born and raised in Canada. I always wanted a brother. And I find that man today. The guy, he had a gash in his left palm. He took my right hand and together, this good old Irishman rubbed the two hands together and says, from today, you're my blood brother. Come on, buddy, let's go home. And we started that long journey home. Now, you had to walk 10 flights of stairs, turn another 10 flights of stairs, then you covered one floor. We had 80 floors to go down. I had a leg wound that was opening up. I took my shirt, make tight bandage, put it on the leg. Pants stood intact. My lucky shoe was giving me all the traction. All that water that was cascading down the stairwells, Brian and I are hobbling and going. And I says, you got to hurry, this building is going. Stan, what do you see burning there is all draperies and cosmetic and paper. By profession, I'm an engineer. Steel don't bend. That's what that man told me. We stopped somewhere on the 40-something floor, 45th floor, Dean Witter cafeteria area. He put his hand against the door. There was no heat coming out. He opened up the door and says, come on. And he picks up the phone and he is calling somebody, his wife, Diane. And I can hear the conversation. And he said, I have a fella here from Fuji Bank. He's in bad shape, but we're coming home. I picked up another phone and called Jenny's boss, Louise. And we spoke a little bit, and I told her, I said, if you get in contact with Jenny, tell her I'm coming home to you girls. And I hung up the phone. When I hung up that phone, something caught my attention. And every night before I sleep, I can hear that same whisper. There's a man lying down on the ground, broken back, massive head injury, closely shaved head. You can see where the skull caved in, and blood and bubbles are oozing out from his head. And this man is crying the same cry that I hear every night. Please tell my wife and our baby that I love them. We just got married. Please tell my wife and our baby that I love them. No help came. We're trying to call, but nobody is answering. It's an African-American security guard who could have escaped, but chose to guard that man and paid the price of his life, and they both perished. See, we were both covered by the same ash, so we did not look different. We looked the same. So on that day, the color of the skin did not matter. It was a fraternity, a brotherhood, that hope of love and peace and joy. And Brian and I continue walking down. We reach the ground floor. When we reached there, all the people we were seeing were the firefighters and the cops and the EMS workers, the nurses and the technicians and everybody. And they were surprised when they saw us. They never thought people were trapped in that building. When the first plane hit the first building, a lot of people did not get into work. They stayed outside and they were watching the scenes. What I was not told, because I was a fire warden for my floor, was after the 1993 bombing, they nailed shut the door that leads to the roof. But the only reason they did not airlift us off that roof on the day, because it was a windy day and we were going to get swept off. So what happened was, some of the people tried to make it back up to go to the roof, not realizing the door was closed, and they didn't have time to come back down, and they perished. But we were on the ground floor, and these good men and women, 60 pounds of equipment in their back, and they're running up the stairs to go and rescue somebody, and you can hear that scream, and one of them just fell. And we had the choice of going and helping or running to safety. And these good men and women, they're sending off to safety and they're taking the hit. And we're running. Go, go, go to Liberty. Liberty Street, that is. Today, Liberty is total freedom. Then, Liberty was just a street. And as we're running, I'm telling Brian, this is God's doing. I'm going to Trinity Church, and I don't know why Trinity Church. I'm coming with you. And they had roped around like 4 blocks. About 4 blocks from the World Trade Center. And as we're running out, you're jumping over fiery debris, and you're looking, and you can hear the scream, and somebody just fell. And we're running. And as we're running, I bumped into this guy. I recognized him as a Catholic priest. He had his collar on. And the guy said, oh my God, you need prayer, but you need a hospital badly. What happened? And Brian said, he just came out from that building. Later on, Brian told me, you were babbling in a language I did not understand. And I'm not bilingual. And the next thing I remember, they prayed for me, and I'm holding on to the fence of the church. And as I held on to the fence of the church, I'm telling Brian for the first time, the second time that is going down now. Stan, you're still in shock. Remember, steel don't bend. What burned there was all draperies and cosmetic and paper. And he was wrong, because the building starts to sway. So we are holding on to the fence of the church, This is the church, and over there is a trade center, and you can see him over the church. And the building starts to sway. And we're swaying with the building. Oh my gosh, she's going to tilt over. And it stopped. And you can feel that ground as if it's an earth tremor. And the building starts to tilt again. Oh my gosh, she's going to tilt over. And stop. And then it starts to like vibrate, and you can hear that squeaky, evil sound. And the building starts to implode. Boom, boom, boom. What happened, because we were hiding at the back side of the church took the blunt force of all the debris that went poof. So the Lord took care of us every step of the way. And all hell broke loose. When that happened, it created a vacuum. So the vacuum was pulling all the smoke from the cross streets. And it looked like a giant tsunami of smoke. And all the people who you're seeing there standing, who were cheering us on, you can't see them now. It's like they're disappearing. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? And you can hear every form of expression. Some people are cursing, some are praising God, some are screaming. And the ladies were taking off the high heel shoe and throw it, and everybody is running helter-skelter. Imagine 60,000 people work at a trade center. And everybody is running through Wall Street area. You don't know where they're going, but everybody is getting away. And in my heart, they're bombing the financial area. And Jenny worked for the New York Stock Exchange around that time. But she was not working on the trading floor. Their building was hidden over the Brooklyn Bridge. They were doing the software update for that company and all those good stuff. And she had worked for the legal department. So, I'm looking for something. I'm looking for somebody. And I saw a man driving a white 4x4 pickup truck. I ran alongside, yanked open the door, jump in the truck, and I says, one word from you, you're dead. Drive. I'm an angry man now. I got to go save Jenny. And the guy looked at me like scared. Now you look at me, you would be scared. I mean, I had no shirt. My undershirt looks like it came from a shredder. I'm cut up, black and blue, and all these things. So the guy looked at me, and he reaches on top of the dashboard, and he took a box of cigarettes, a white box. He says, here, smoke. I said, no, man, I had enough smoke for one day. He says, where to? I said, Brooklyn Bridge Drive. And I'm looking at him, and he got scared, and he drove, and as soon as he reached the ramp of the Brooklyn Bridge, I yanked open the door, thank you, jumped out, and I'm running. And I bump into this big guy. I'm like, oh my gosh, now this man gonna kill me. The guy looked at me, turned around, and says, what happened? I said, I just came out for the building. He says, my name is Albert de Leon. I'm a senior counsel for French Bank. Whatever you want, I'll help you. I said, you show me where 2 Metro Tech Center is? The man says, I live right behind that building. I was in Vietnam. I'm saying, all right. God is helping my way. Imagine 40,000 people on top of that bridge, and that one man you bump into knows exactly where you got to go. That has to be God. So, I said, I'm not going. He said, what do you mean you're not going? I said, I'm a logical-minded person. What they're going to do? They hotwire this bridge, everybody's going to die. So he's looking at me as if I'm crazy now. How do you know this? Sit down. So we sat down, and people are screaming and running, and he says, and you can hear the sound of planes and, the jets hovering over Lower Manhattan. He says, what is that? Tell me. I said, that is Uncle Sam taking care of business. He says, come on, let's go. So I got up and we start to run again. And we reached the lobby of the building where Jenny works, and the security guard looks at me and says, oh, no, you're not coming in here. The guy looks at me, profile me, and says, oh, no. They probably feel this guy's trouble. So he reached for his guard stick, and I took a karate stand. Come on. So I'm not going to go into that little part. So the other guys came, and all the security people came, and Albert has it back against mine, and we are looking for these people, and we're watching them, and they're encroaching. And Albert is making so much noise. All we want is Jennifer from the legal department. And in the corner of my eyes, I saw this guy running, coming towards us. And as he ran coming, he says, what are you guys doing? Stan is a good man. And he pushed the people aside. And he opened up his white shirt that he had. Here, Stan, you can have my shirt. Give this man anything he wants. Make him well. Stan, we had a general council meeting. Gotta go. Give him anything he wants. If this Bible was to be written in modern days, this man would have been the Good Samaritan. The nurse came and said, give me one of her jackets. And I gave back the man his shirt, and he was gone. The nurse said, Stan, take this water, take my apple, take my sandwich that I brought from work, have it. No, I don't, it's okay. And she's crying. She said, I cannot send you home because they shut down the train station, they shut down the parkway. I can't send you home with a cab. No. All I want is to hear my wife's voice and the voices of my children, know that they're okay, and I will be fine. But I can't remember our number. I'm dialing the number. I say, give me a phone. The number pops into my head. And there is Jenny. What are you doing this for? She thought somebody was impersonating me calling her. And in her heart, she thought I died. No. The Lord took care of me and I'm coming home to you girls. And I hung up that phone. And the lady said, I'll walk you down to the train station. Lady, why would you walk me down to the train station if they shut it down? But I went with her. I got there, we stood up, not a voice, not a word, nothing is said. Stand up like this. And I can't explain this phenomenon short of a miracle again. All of a sudden I hear the sound of a train pulling into the station. The doors open right in front where I am standing, and I stepped in that door, through the door, and the door closed. I'm saying to myself, what is that chance? It looks like when I had a private train for myself, and as soon as I step in and the door closed, the train pulled out and starts to go. And the lady could not believe what she's seeing, and she had her hand in her mouth like this. And she's running alongside of the train, waving me goodbye. And I was gone. Nobody came out, nobody went in the train. Because I was like the conductor at that point. I'm watching. Nobody came, the door closed, I'm watching again. It reached the stop where I have to go, got out of the train. When I got out from there, I'm going towards my car where I park. I'm trying to fix the seat belt on with my left hand because my right hand had this concussion on. And what happened was, I can't buckle on the seat belt. And I'm saying to myself, today I'm going to have a ticket. So I tried, I buckled the seat belt, and I drove like a robot, and I pulled up in front of the house. When I got there, I saw Jenny standing on the porch, and Stephanie is on the right hand and Caitlin on the left hand. And all the neighbors ran out, Louise ran out, and Gigi and Toots and everybody, they ran, Carolyn, and they're hugging me, kissing me. Thank God you're safe, Stan. And I walk up the stairs, and I reach for my little daughter, Caitlin. She was 4. And the child starts screaming, please don't touch me, you're not my daddy. And she's hiding behind Jenny. She can't recognize me. And I reached for Stephanie, and she had a sandwich. Just had a sandwich, but she had a butter knife in one hand. And as I hugged that child, the child looks at me and says, Dad, if you didn't come home, I was going to kill myself. When that child said what she said, after all that I went through that day, it did not mean anything. All I remember was to hug Jenny and those 2 girls and says, Lord, thank you. Because that day I went to work with a prayer in my heart. And now is a time for a thanksgiving. Thanking God for life. Thanking God for saving me. Thanking God for bringing me home to my family. I had hope in my heart. I had faith in that God that I know that He was able to do all things. My God. And the next thing I remember, I'm telling Jenny, don't take me to the hospital. because they would never send me home. Take me to the doctor. And I remember I'm lying down on the doctor's bed, and he is talking to somebody on the phone, his brother. And the doctor doesn't know that I know the brother. The brother was my tax accountant. And I can hear what he is telling his brother. This man lost his mind. It may take a day, a month, a week, a year. Eventually he may snap out, but there is no guarantee. And all I remember, I'm sitting down on a couch. And as I'm sitting down on a couch, I'm watching the news, and it unfolded as if it was a bad dream that I had, a nightmare. And I can hear Pastor Jim is preaching. 911 is an emergency number. All the answers to life is in the Bible. And I screamed out to Jenny, please give me my Bible. And I opened up the Bible and I'm looking for 911. I had a King James version of the Bible with a zipper around and all the pages were falling apart. And as I turn, I'm looking at Psalm 91, verse 1. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Oh my gosh, this is powerful. I'm reading on. And he shall give his angels charges over thee. And I'm reading on. And with long life shall I satisfy him and show him my salvation. And I snapped out of all that problem that I had. And I start recognizing faces and people and everything. And I live because of the saving grace of God. Today I want to challenge you, church. I want to put you on a test, church. I don't know what you're going through, but I know one thing, that we serve a God who is able. My God can do amazing things. I tell a big God about a little problem. My problem is little, and I tell it to my big God, and I leave that at the foot of the cross. So whatever situations you are going through, the husband walks out, the wife walks out, the children are in jail, they're not doing good in school, you can't have that promotion, you can't find a job, you can't pay your bills. Rest assured, my God is able to take care of you. If my God can bring Stanley Premnath out of death back to life to tell the good news, he can do it for you. So if you have that situation that is bothering you today, now is your chance. The God that Stanley called on is that God that is here today. So if you bow your hearts with me today, we will pray and we will make all things right. Bow your hearts with me as Pastor is making his way up. Bow your hearts with me. Our God, our Heavenly Father, we pause to honor you today. We pause to give you thanks and praise because you're deserving it. We pause today, God, because we've come with a contrite heart. And we have come with a problem. And we have come with a situation where we can't find a solution. But we know, oh God, that you can do all things. You can make all things right. And today, God, we know, just like how you helped Stanley and you called and he answered, please, on my behalf, Lord, help me. You're a God of grace and mercy. You're a God who is full of love. You're a God who's compassionate. And today, oh God, we are leaving our cares at the foot of the cross. Amen? Amen. If you have said that prayer, you know God is working on your behalf. And rest assured, if you never see me again, know for sure that I'm somewhere else telling the good news of salvation. Amen?
At the end of the service, Stanley will still be available for some Q&As, whether it's going to be here or we planned it in the Kuier tent, but I love the rain. Thank you, Lord God, for the rain. Thank you, Lord God, for the rain. On Friday morning at 5:55, he's going to be the speaker at our men's meeting here at Green Olive, and all the men, I invite you to join us. But I'm going to ask you for the next 5 to at least 5-6 minutes, won't you please turn to each other, making groups of 4, not more than 5. For the next 5-6 minutes, just explain to the people in your group, what did you hear? What did the Lord say to you between the lines? And maybe you want to say, I'm trusting the Lord for something. This is now the time, just for the next 5-6 minutes, turn to each other and make groups of 4, more or less. Thank you.